There's nothing quite like the sound of 20,000 people. It's a physical force, a wave of emotion that can carry a champion to glory or crush them under its weight. Tonight it was a coronation. In the middle of the ring, bathed in the glow of championship gold, stood Victoria Blackwood. Her run as women's world champion had been nothing short of tyrannical. She wasn't just a champion. She was an institution, a seemingly unbeatable force who had torn through every challenger in her path. Her music dies down, and she lifts a microphone, a smirk playing on her lips. The crowd is hanging on every word. I've told every single one of you, and I've told every woman in that locker room, that this, she says, patting the title belt, is my property. This division belongs to me. And there is not a single person on this planet who has what it takes to. And then everything goes black. It happens in a split second. The champion's mic cuts out. The roar of the crowd vanishes, replaced by a collective gasp. The massive screens that just showed Victoria Blackwood in all her glory are now dead. For 10 solid seconds, the only sound in the arena is a low, anxious hum. It's the sound of thousands of people holding their breath, realizing this isn't a technical glitch. This is on purpose. This is the moment a ghost from WWE's past, a name whispered in tryout camps years ago, decided to stop waiting for an invitation. A single deep heartbeat starts to pound through the arena's speakers. Boom, boom, boom. It's slow, it's deliberate, and it sets every tooth on edge. Then, a single cold blue spotlight cuts through the darkness, hitting the top of the entrance ramp. No music, no fireworks, just a silhouette standing perfectly still. The commentary team is scrambling. What is going on? Who is this? One asks, his voice a mix of excitement and genuine confusion. This was not on the run sheet for tonight. Security looks just as lost as we are. The figure starts to walk. It's not the theatrical swagger of a typical superstar. It's a fighter's walk, calm, efficient, every step taken with a chilling sense of purpose. In the ring, Victoria Blackwood's shock is quickly turning to pure rage. She's screaming into the darkness, demanding to know who dares interrupt her. As the figure reaches the ring, the house lights come up, but only to a dim, moody twilight. The figure steps onto the apron, and the cameras finally get a clear shot. The commentators go quiet for a second, trying to place the face. Her hair is pulled back tight, her expression is a mask of intensity, and her eyes are laser-focused on the champion. Then, one of the commentators leans into his mic, his voice dropping to a whisper. Wait a minute, I know that face, that can't be... ... Is that ... That's Arissa LeBrock. The other announcer jumps in, the light bulb going off over his head. LeBrock, you mean... As in the daughter of action star Steven Seagal and supermodel Kelly LeBrock. What on earth is she doing here? This isn't just some random appearance. It's the payoff to a story the wrestling world thought was over before it began. This is a name that hasn't been said on WWE TV, but it's a name that's buried deep in their own files. This is a woman who had a WWE tryout years ago, back in December of 2019, the lead commentator explains. His team now frantically digging for info. She was at the Performance Center. She even had a ring name she was working under, Arissa LeBrock. It was a name that perfectly captured her potential, a mix of her mother's star power and her father's martial arts background. She was seen as a potential game changer. Someone with a legitimate foundation in grappling and Brazilian jiu-jitsu, who could bring a whole different flavor to the ring. She had the pedigree, the look, and the skills. It seemed like a done deal. Then she was gone. After that 2019 tryout, the trail went cold. Rumors flew around, but nothing was ever confirmed. The wrestling business moves at lightning speed, and Arissa LeBrock became a piece of trivia. A what-if story for the most hardcore fans. Tonight, the what-if just stepped through the ropes and is staring down the most dominant champion in the company. Back in the ring, Victoria Blackwood has shaken off the shock. She doesn't see a threat. She sees a celebrity's kid playing dress-up. She scoffs, her voice dripping with contempt. You think you can just walk in here? Into my ring? Victoria throws the first punch, a wild, arrogant haymaker. And this is where the script flips. This is where sports entertainment showmanship crashes into the cold, hard reality of combat science. Arissa doesn't even flinch. She doesn't duck. She just moves with a smoothness that's completely alien to the champion. She parries the punch not by batting it away, but by catching the wrist. Her grip is like a steel clamp. In one seamless motion, she pivots, using Victoria's own momentum against her. It's a classic Aikido-style wrist lock, and it's an instant signal that she's playing a completely different game. The champion's smirk vanishes, replaced by a flash of genuine panic. She tries to yank her arm back, but Arissa's grip is absolute. Arissa uses the captured wrist to spin Victoria around and kicks her legs out from under her with a brutally simple foot sweep. The champion hits the mat hard, not from a powerbomb, but from a technique that was perfectly executed and impossible to defend. The crowd lets out a collective "oh," a sound of pure appreciation for something they've never seen before. Arissa stands over the fallen champion, not gloating, just watching. She releases the wrist and takes a small step back, a clear gesture of control. She didn't come here to fight. She came here to operate. What nobody watching understands is the fire that forged this dangerous calm. That disappearance after her 2019 tryout wasn't her quitting. It was a setback. A major injury forced her to step away, putting her dream on ice. For most people, that would have been the end of the story. But for Arissa LeBrock, it was the start of her real education. The physical recovery was tough, but the mental recovery was tougher. That's when she got a lifeline from a man who knows a thing or two about living under the shadow of a famous father, Dustin Rhodes. Rhodes, the legendary son of the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, saw the raw talent and the fire that was still there. He invited her to his renowned Rhodes Wrestling Academy in Texas. There, far away from the WWE spotlight, Arissa rebuilt herself from scratch. She wasn't a celebrity's daughter. She was just another student. She put in the work, learned the craft, and paid her dues on the unforgiving canvas of a training school. In March of 2023, she finally had her first real match at a Rhodes Wrestling Academy student showcase. It wasn't in front of 20,000 people, but it was everything. She had come back from an injury that should have ended her career. She had earned her spot not with her name, but with pure grit. Dustin Rhodes himself went on record, saying what he was seeing was only the beginning for her. Back in the WWE ring, Victoria Blackwood is humiliated and furious. She scrambles to her feet and charges Arissa, throwing a wild flurry of punches and kicks. Arissa weathers the storm, absorbing a few shots before she finds her opening. She ducks under a wild swing, captures the champion's arm, and transitions into a spinning throw-a, sort of urinage that sends Victoria flying across the ring. The champion lands hard, the wind completely knocked out of her. Before Victoria can even think, Arissa is on her, flowing into a submission. She isolates the arm, threatening a cross-arm breaker. The crowd can feel it. This is it. She's going to tap the champion on her first night. But then, something even more stunning happens. Arissa doesn't wrench back on the hold. She just holds the champion in that position of total vulnerability for 1, 2, 3 seconds. And then she lets go and stands up. The point was made. She didn't need to make the champion tap. She just needed to show everyone that she could, anytime she wanted. Arissa calmly walks over to where the Women's World Championship belt is lying on the mat. She picks it up. She doesn't hoist it in the air like a trophy. She holds it in front of her, studying it with a cold, analytical gaze. She looks from the gold to the broken champion, gasping for air on the mat. She places the championship belt down, not on Victoria's chest as an insult, but right beside her as a promise of what's to come. Without saying a single word, she turns, leaves the ring, and walks back up the ramp with the same unnerving calm she arrived with. Disappearing as the arena is left in stunned silence, the commentary team is left to try and make sense of it all. "I have never, ever seen anything like that," one of them says, his voice filled with awe. "She didn't come here to have a match. She came here to deliver a message. Hollywood royalty, a famous last name, a martial arts legacy. That's all part of the story. But it's not the story. The story is what we all just witnessed. It's the resilience. The journey from a WWE tryout through a career-threatening injury, to the grind of a wrestling school, and finally, to this moment. This wasn't handed to her. She forged it herself in silence and fire. Arissa LeBrock didn't just make her debut tonight. She announced a whole new way of doing things in WWE. She proved that legacy isn't just about your parents. It's about what you're willing to go through to build your own. The question isn't if she'll be champion. The question is, who on earth can possibly stop her? The entire world is about to be talking about Arissa LeBrock, and for the women's locker room, that should be a terrifying thought.